Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another installment of Derek and I Getting Drunk, or as it's more popularly known, Beer Freaks.
Beer Freaks.
Beer Freaks.
What's up, Stu?
Derek, it's good to see you, man.
Dude, it's been a minute since we've done an actual episode.
We took a little bit of time off for Thanksgiving.
We did.
And
did a lot of horror happy hours.
Some horror happy hours, and now we finally have guests back. We haven't had guests in, what, like 2 months?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Like that.
It's been a minute.
We've been making cartoons and other bullshit, so
yeah,
we've been keeping ourselves busy. But Derek, you want to tell us about our guests today? Because I think we have two guests.
We got two guests. This is awesome.
Pretty excited to have. We met them at a cool beer event.
We did.
And we knew we had to have them on the show.
Yep, totally. So we got one. I think a lot of people call him what the most amazing man in the world?
Most interesting man.
Most interesting man in the world. And no, guys, it's not the Dos Equis dude. This dude is way better than that. He is a drummer. He is an artist. He's an actor. He is a bass player. But this dude does everything. But on top of it, he does dabble a little bit in dermatology. So we got John. Then we got LeAnne. This lady's awesome, man. Big blogger. Food just aficionado on YouTube doing her thing. I love it. See, these guys are the best.
It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a good show. So let's let our intro roll, and we'll start drinking some beer.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, my name is Stu Hawk, and this is my podcast about all the weird, crazy, spooky things that scare me and my guests, and the one thing that helps us forget all about them. Ladies and gentlemen, Beer Freaks. And we're back. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for making. I know you guys are on the north side of town.
Yeah, you guys are in friggin' California.
We are.
We are not only in Southern Highlands, we are in Southern California.
You are.
That's right. Basically.
We normally don't travel what we call so-trop. We do not go south of Tropicana that frequently because we are at the last exit before Mount Charleston here in the Las Vegas Valley.
Jesus.
You guys took
this
a
is a
hike
big-
down here.
This is a big deal for us.
Oh, that's okay because you guys are going to be returning the favor and you're going to come and cook with me live on camera.
We've
stoked.
committed.
Right.
We've committed. We'll make it happen. So you're brewing some beer, and it's got a really cool name that I'm probably going to butcher. Nota Brau.
That's exactly right.
That's good.
That's perfect.
Okay, so can you give us a little bit of background?
So I started brewing beer 27 years ago.
Okay.
28.
Well, almost 20.
That was like before it was cool to brew microbrews.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Papazian's like
when,
the
like-
only person brewing.
Like
Yeah.
PBR was like the microbrew.
Yeah,
right.
Charlie Papazian was the father of homebrewing, and he started in the late 70s, early 80s, pushing it. But
Did he make anything that like we would know?
He never brewed
Nobody wrote the
commercially.
damn book.
Yeah, he literally wrote
Oh,
the
yeah,
book. Charlie
literally.
Papazian wrote the book on homebrewing and worked to bring homebrewing to the mainstream and get the laws passed. Because back when he started doing it, it was still illegal.
Oh, it's like moonshine.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You could not make your own beer in the
I
United
didn't.
States.
I did not realize that.
And so,
There
anyway,
is still one state where you can't.
Which one?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Oh,
Go figure.
wow.
Yeah,
Go
roll,
figure.
roll Tide, but do not roll on the brew.
That's
right. And don't roll anything else, by the way.
Don't roll anything in
Because otherwise you're
Alabama.
going to be spending a lifetime in jail.
Oh, boy.
But she bought me. So we had come back from Europe, and we were living up in the northernmost tip of the state of Maine.
You don't want to go there.
Yeah, not the end of the world, but you can see it clearly from there.
And you know what? And I was
along
almost
with
like
Sarah Palin's
Yeah,
house.
I was almost like Sarah Palin because I was international because I could see Canada.
That's right. So
Fantastic.
she bought me for my birthday that year a beer kit.
Yeah.
And so a couple of buckets, the basic setup, the bottle capper and everything else. I opened the first bottle of that beer January 28th.
June 28th.
June 28th.
June
Sorry,
28th.
June 28th at 7 a.m.
Oh, whoa.
It was
All right, it wasn't 7 a.m.
Bright
Our
and
son
early.
was born at
close
9:18.
to it. It was
I like 7
It was
better.
right after my boy
That's
was
correct.
born.
And
And
so you had your own beer
in
after
the,
you
in
made
the
your own
hospital, right?
In the hospital.
That's pretty badass, dude.
So-
That's cool.
yeah, and I've been brewing since. I've been brewing since. So a buddy of mine, when we had that first batch going, he was getting up to go to the refrigerator, and another guy shouts out, "Hey, you going to the fridge? Grab me a Nota Brau." And so the name stuck.
Yeah.
So why did he say Notabartolo? What does
Well,
that mean?
it's a riff on our last name.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I
You don't need to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a long one that begins with
But
Nota.
but it plays around
right,
with.
with Nota.
Okay.
And Brau, of course,
forgot your
beer,
last
German
name.
for beer.
Oh, okay.
I love
There
it,
you go.
dude.
Got you. Yep.
It rolls off the tongue. So nice.
Notabartolo.
Notabartolo.
It does.
Notabartolo.
Saying, I want a Notabartolo.
Yeah.
Give me another Notabartolo.
And dude, that's a perfect segue into this amazing beer that
Yes.
we're having. Actually,
Why don't we crack the first one?
mm-hmm.
Well, we have been having a little bit of beer, but you guys don't know that because you can't see us.
That's right.
So
Because this is radio.
the good news is we're still all feeling good,
Yep.
but we're just going to get started with our quote unquote first beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Derek, do you want to open up our, what is it? The rat theme.
Ooh, let's do it.
We've got a story apparently that you're a little bit worried to tell.
No, I've told the story a lot of times. It's just disgusting and creepy.
Ooh, I'm excited. That's perfect to
That's
go with
what
our
this
beer.
show is all about.
Yes. All right. So we got the beer.
All right, we got
Okay,
the beer.
got the beer.
Okay, so we're gonna.
This is my beer.
This
for
is
my
for
fear.
your story.
Yep.
So I will just
Beer
say,
for
let
fear.
me preface the reason I got this beer.
Okay.
Because you said that your fear was rats and needles. I didn't really want to get a beer focused around needles. That just seemed potentially creepy. You know.
Drug related.
Do you have any
Yeah.
beers that deal with needles?
Right. I've got a beer
Space
with
needle?
a needle, a used needle in it. You know, no. It's,
Space Needle. Oh,
Yeah. I guess I could have gone that route. I could have gotten a Seattle beer or something. You're much more creative than me, clearly. So, you know, but I did find one beer that sort of seemed a little bit appropriate for
Oh, this is quite tasty.
rats. And you know what? I'm glad that it's tasty because I wasn't sure how it would be, but it's called Wild Little Thing.
It's kind of a sour with a nice floral finish, actually.
It's yes.
It's Sierra Nevada.
It's Sierra Nevada. So
not
you
gonna
know-
be
Again, with
bad.
the Sierra Nevada,
know it's
how
gonna
can
be
you go
good, be bad.
wrong? Yeah, you can't
Absolutely.
go wrong.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, so
Cheers.
cheers. Yeah, it's a very bright pink can, by
It
the
is.
way.
Very girly.
Pink and yellow.
Very girly.
So see, it works for this, you know, for your
But I'm
story.
not girly.
You're not girly, but you're the
No.
only girl in the room. So
I'm
we're just
very
gonna go with
womanly.
that, you know. But
Yeah.
you know, so it says it's a slightly sour ale, 5.5%. So nothing that's
nice.
gonna blast
Yeah,
you
it's like
over.
session,
You know,
yeah.
That's
So-
like a
I like
PBR
that.
for
I like
us.
that 5.5 is like a session, like because
Yeah.
that didn't used to be a session.
It's a
like a
session.
session for a lot of people is like 3, but Derek
Yeah.
and I are like, give
That's
us like a
near beer.
7%.
That's a Utah
That's like
beer.
a, you know.
But Stu, I gotta say, you picked a good beer.
Yes,
I think
this
you know
is-
I love
actually,
it.
and literally, I think either I don't know if this was live on the podcast or if it was before we went live. I think I said I never liked any like there. I liked one sour, maybe
Yeah.
historic. I actually don't mind this
because
No.
it's not super sour. And you and I talked about, you know, the difference. I'm not a big sour fan either, mostly because the yeast that is involved in creating it gives me like major congestion. It's not that I don't like the taste, it's that it just doesn't agree with me. But this one, it's not super sour.
Yeah.
And it's not super hoppy. It's like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But I love that floral finish and kind of like a berry on the front.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A little sweet sour. Yeah, a little.
I kind of like it.
Well, Sierra Nevada, you've done
Sierra
it again.
Nevada, you knocked it out of the park
another
again.
another winner. So tell us about the rats, Lee.
Yes,
Yeah.
this
We
is
gotta
the
hear
story
these
we've been
rats.
waiting
I'm
for.
excited.
Okay, so I grew up in upstate New York, and I grew up on a farm,
Oh.
and we had a chicken coop, and I don't know, you know, it was actually, I shit you not, it was an old trailer, you know, like
The chicken coop?
like trailer park trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We turned it into a chicken coop.
Nice. Hey.
And so
Innovated.
where the kitchen in this trailer was, we had just like used the drawers for the feed, you know, to store the feed. So I went out to feed the chickens one day. And I was probably 13 and all of 78 pounds. I was really tiny. And I pulled open the drawer, and a rat as big as my arm, like the length of my forearm, stared at me, and I stood there and I shook, and I, my heart stopped and I couldn't breathe, and the damn thing ran up my arm and jumped off my shoulder.
You were a ramp.
And I stood there.
A launching point.
Like, okay, you see the films where people are electrocuted and they're touching something. That was me in the drawer. And I couldn't move. I was so afraid.
Oh, boy.
Goosebumps. Look
I
at that.
could not move.
Boy.
So I know where my fear comes from.
I'd piss my pants.
I almost did. Thank God I had peed right before I went to go
Derek-
feed the chicken.
Eric's a man in his 30s.
Okay, but still, I'm terrified.
I don't blame you.
We were in Berlin in 91.
91.
The summer of 91.
I was 6.
Okay, fuck you.
It was
Doing it.
it was
You're just gonna
right,
keep doing it, aren't you?
Right after
Right
the wall,
after
came,
the wall
down.
came down. The wall
That's
came
rad.
down in
That's rad.
November.
November
yeah.
90.
And we were there in June of 91. And we're walking by their version of Central Park. And I can't remember what it's called, but I'm sure you can, one of your listeners.
It's like the
will-
Rhine or something like that.
No,
or is
no,
that
that's
the
a
countryside?
river. That's
So
a
it's-
river.
And U.S. geography fails again.
Okay. So we're in this big park, and they have these massive sidewalks just like they do in New York City.
Yeah.
And we're walking with some other people that we had met at this event that we were attending.
And we may have been drinking.
And we had been drinking.
I don't believe you.
because
Yeah, I
it's
don't
beer
believe
and
it.
it's
I don't
Germany,
believe
and if you're in Germany, you have to totally fucking drink beer.
It's like Utah over there, right?
Liters of beer.
If you're not drinking in Germany, you should not freaking Germany.
I agree with you. So we're walking down the sidewalk, and just like Central Park, there's like a brick wall, and it's dusk, and the rats come out at dusk
Oh.
because they're night crawlers. They're nocturnal.
yeah.
So
We had a lot
Just
of
like the
rats in San
freaks
Diego.
come out at night.
the freaks come out at night, and rats are part of that
The-
freak
The
crowd.
wild little
Rats.
things.
Yeah,
come out at night.
exactly. The wild little things going on. So we're walking along, and I see movement out of the corner of my eye on the top of the wall. I turn my head, and I jump right out into traffic in front of a bus.
Oh, jeez.
The sidewalk was 10 feet wide, and that was too fucking close for me.
Wow, dude.
When I was in the
Jesus.
Bahamas just a few years ago with my girlfriends,
Yeah.
we had gone out to eat dinner. It was fantastic. We went to this little locals joint. We were like the only tourists in there. It was amazing. We're walking back. We're going to stop at this outdoor bar. My friend Janet goes, "Where the fuck's LeAnne?" Lynn said, "Oh, she saw a rat. She's across the street." Like, I was gone. I was gone. They had no. I am terrified. Our son has a guinea pig, and I will not go into his apartment.
I'm surprised you've allowed that to
Wow.
happen.
No,
he doesn't live
he has
with
his
us.
own apartment.
Still,
He's
you
3.5
still have the-
miles away.
You still have the mom
card.
card.
Yeah, I'm not going into his apartment unless he puts that thing in the bedroom.
Wait,
and
does he
clo-
own a rat?
I'm not.
He has a
going-
rodent.
A guinea pig. I mean,
I
that's
am
There's a
not
guinea
going-
pig.
I
You
am
know
not
how he
going into
probably
his
did that.
apartment until he vacuums the goddamn floor.
He
'cause I know
vacuumed the
that hasn't
floor.
happened
That's
since
fair.
I moved him in
Yeah,
there.
no, I'm
That's fair.
literally
Yeah,
terrified. I break out
But
into
he's
a
a young
cold
guy.
sweat.
You know? It's-
I don't blame you.
I'm terrified. Like, literally, like.
So, like, what?
Heart stop.
What if you see a rat in a movie? Does that?
Oh no
make you
no no no
uncomfortable?
no
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
no! Not
Really?
watching it.
Ratatouille?
Not watching it.
Even that-
But dude, Ratatouille is the cutest movie.
Yeah, I can watch it with my eye closed and just listen.
Yeah.
So,
No,
like,
fuck that.
She couldn't even
Ratatouille.
deal
There,
with.
there's a
couldn't
rat in the kitchen. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna kill that fucking rat.
Are you gonna cook it?
She couldn't even deal with like Fievel the mouse.
Oh no, what? Mice don't bother me. Mice don't bother me. Rats.
Wow. Wow. That's a
Terrifying.
pretty crazy fear, dude.
That's intense.
Terrified.
What other great movies have rats in them?
Willard,
what are you missing out
Ben.
What else? What else are we missing? There's some good movies that have rats.
What's the one with Stephen King? Was it Night Shift that you said? Oh,
Yeah, it has a
wasn't
short
movie.
story.
It's a short
It's got
story.
yeah.
The
but it
Night
was a
Shift-
movie, and you made me watch
No,
it.
he never made a movie of it.
It's a great short story.
It's the short story. Yeah.
I think it's just called Rat.
Yeah, where he's the night watchman.
love
and,
Stephen
yeah,
In the factory that's with the
Yeah.
little rats
It's
everywhere.
not a movie.
Yeah,
Not a
it is.
movie.
I'm gonna,
Wait. So can you read a book about rats?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Okay, that doesn't.
I don't
so
wanna
you
see
You just
them.
don't want to see it. Okay.
I shared my creepy fear.
Yeah. Now it's
Yours
up
is
to
a
you,
little
John.
bit more visceral and ephemeral.
All right, here we go.
Because I'm afraid of
Dumbo.
becoming irrelevant.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes. Which, to me, I mean, it seems like the degrees, you don't want to stop being relevant. You want to keep working towards. So let's get into it.
You know, Stu. Here's as a kid, I was brought up in a family, and I say brought up because I'm adopted, and did not know it at the time. And I was brought up in a family.
How old were you when you found out?
32.
Oh, wow.
No.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Longer than that. No.
No, it was 32.
You're
It
35.
was 32. It was before I went to school, before I went to PA school.
I'm just going to tell you the day I met his parents, I knew he was adopted.
Anyways, before I went to PA school, and my thing is the family that I grew up in literally had absolutely no relevance to me. You know, they were butchers. They were, you know, they.
And there's nothing wrong with being a butcher.
Absolutely not. I'm a butcher. I'm the son of a butcher.
Son of a bitch is what you are.
I am a.
If you didn't say it, I was
Yeah,
going to say
no,
I was waiting.
I am a bastard in the truest sense of the word. So the bottom line is, you know, I looked at the family and I was like, well, none of them seem to want anything more.
Yeah.
And none of them were happy with what they were doing.
Yeah,
or
So
where
it's
they
like
were.
stuck in this loop.
Oh my God, my father hated his fucking life and didn't want to do anything to change it.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, fucking quit your job. Learn something new.
Yeah.
Go, you know, oh my God. But he would just bitch and drink and bitch and drink.
Which is kind of what John does. He
No,
bitches.
I don't bitch. I don't bitch. I just drink. I
Yeah.
drink and I laugh because I'm a jovial fellow.
Yes.
But, you know, I
That
always...
needs to be a T-shirt.
I can make
Perfect for
one
this
with my
time of year.
cricket.
That'd be great.
There you go.
Yeah, I wanted something more. I wanted something different, and I understood that I wasn't going to get it from within that family.
Yeah.
And so I strove to be relevant. I strove for something outside. And so, I mean, my biggest fear, you know, it was death for a long time, because I was raised in a very religious household. And since I won't disparage any particular religion because I dislike them all equally, it just, you know, the fear of death is like beat into you when you're a kid.
Yeah, and you had to act a certain way so you didn't go to hell. And,
Yeah.
you know, and the fires of hell and brimstone. And yeah.
But, you know, I've since got over that. You know, I mean, it's part of the circle of life.
Yeah.
To quote Walt Disney.
Elton John.
Well, yeah.
It's a beautiful song.
After he stopped being cool.
When did Elton John stop being cool?
He's still.
When he started doing Disney, dude.
I still got a poster of him in my bedroom.
Candle in the Wind.
Yeah. That was
the moment.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
the
it.
moment.
That was it. That was
Even
the
even
moment.
me as a young child at that point, I knew. I was like, this guy's not cool. I knew.
You know,
Nobody
because you go back. I mean, Rocket Man, Crocodile Rock. You know,
yeah,
it was like
dude.
freaking Billy Joel. Billy Joel, cool
Benny
right up
and the
until.
Jets, come on.
But Billy Joel was cool right up until Uptown Girl.
Right up until
When
he
he
started
started-
dating Christy Brinkley.
He started getting laid regularly by a hot chick, and his fucking music went to hell. You know,
They do that to you.
Oh my God, it's almost like musicians who go off drugs. You know, once they quit drugs, their music goes to shit. Eric Clapton. You know,
Clapton.
oh my God, when he was on heroin, his music was so fucking good.
God, John.
And
That is so mean.
but you know, so now his music is irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know, and
Now, so let me ask you this though, since we're on this specific
should I
topic.
do heroin?
Well, so Kurt Cobain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are Nirvana fans, but by
I
the way,
am.
check out these bad boys.
Oh, look
You
at those
know,
socks,
wow,
rocking
look
the
at you.
Nirvana
My
socks.
favorite band of all time, Nirvana. I love Nirvana. Now, had Kurt Cobain sobered up, gotten non-depressed, continued to live for another 20
Music
years,
would
would
have
their
never been.
music have
He'd
been
be writing songs for fucking Disney.
Yeah.
He'd be writing songs
For
for,
Tim
Dave
Burton, at least.
Grohl.
Well, yeah.
Oh, Dave, yeah, it's true.
Love Dave Grohl. I have a lunch list of people I want to have lunch with, and Dave Grohl
Dave
is
Grohl
in
seems
the
cool.
top three.
He just seems
That's
cool.
cool.
Dave
Yeah.
Grohl is
Yeah.
on the top 3 of the lunch list. He is just a total fucking badass.
so-
But Kurt Cobain was a badass too.
He totally was.
So
Yeah.
cool.
So
But
Stu,
dude, that's what they say though. Is like the whole
Live hard, die young.
microdosing. Well, no, microdosing is like a huge thing for
Oh.
people. You know,
In
just
the creative
enough.
industry.
Yeah,
oh,
just
LSD,
enough.
LSD,
Yeah.
just
You
to-
know, just to open that
Masking.
mind because it's so true. I
yeah.
mean, honestly, like
but they're also using that to treat schizophrenia.
exactly.
And,
Like there's so
Depression.
many
depression
other
and,
things that they
what's
do
the
with
other
it.
one? Something or other psychosis.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
bunch of them.
they're
Yeah.
using it for multiple mental
Yeah.
illnesses.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
So
But-
Stu, have you ever been to Seattle and gone to Mopop?
I've been to Seattle, but I have not
You've
been to
gotta
Mopop.
go to
Okay,
the
so it
Mopop
used
if
to
you're-
it used to be known as
EMP,
the EMP, the Experience
Experience
Music
Music
Project.
Project.
Oh, okay. I have not.
It's
And-
amazing. It's a Frank Gehry building. It's down by
Oh,
the
beautiful.
Space Needle.
Right by the Space Needle.
Okay.
So
I probably
it's the-
walked right past it
okay,
because I
so
walked around that area.
here's the
It's like-
needle.
I was pretty drunk though.
And
I'm not gonna
there's
lie.
the Chihuly Museum, the Chihuly Gardens,
Mm.
and the EMP or Mopop is right there. They're all like in one plaza.
Mm.
And because Cobain was from Seattle, they have an entire exhibit, and they actually
of
have a
Nirvana.
volunteer docent who was like a groupie for the band and knew the band that actually does tours of the Nirvana exhibit.
Whoa.
And if you're a
Yeah.
fan, you should
Yeah.
totally go. It's
Whoa.
amazing.
I would love to.
You should check that
Oh,
out.
and so now Mopop started out as like this music thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it grew when it was EMP, Experience Music Project. And there's a huge freaking like 2.5-story sculpture when you walk in. Well, the first thing you see when you walk in after you pay for your tickets and you go up the stairs is the floating police car from Blade Runner.
Whoa.
Oh, right. That's like hanging over your head.
We're super nerds.
And
You
then
have
you
to
go
get
up,
this. We're like-
and you go up, and then there's this 2.5-story fucking sculpture of guitars and basses and
brass,
guitars,
and there's saxes in there and clarinets,
and they are hooked.
and it's like it looks like a tornado. It's like a
yeah, it's cone shaped,
It's cone shaped.
and it's hooked to a MIDI processor and servos, and it is creating music.
Really?
Yeah, you
And
can
it
walk
is
up to it and put
constantly
headphones on and listen to what it's
creating
playing.
music, and you can
Yeah.
put on the headphones and listen to this.
Although I
freaking
don't think you
music.
should put the
is
headphones on
wild.
right now because of COVID.
Yeah, well,
Well,
but
fair
so,
enough.
so
COVID.
but and then they had they have
I'll wait till
like,
summer next year.
They have the history of the guitar as one exhibit. They have a Jimi Hendrix exhibit because Hendrix was also from Seattle.
So many
Right?
great bands have come from Seattle.
And then
it's
you-
crazy.
Then you've got the Nirvana exhibit, but then they started expanding, and at the basement they had put a horror exhibit.
See,
Yeah.
we got to go.
All right,
Perfect.
And,
We gotta go.
Oh, dude, the fucking axe from The Shining.
Oh.
Now you're talking
Right?
my language. That is
Freddy
my favorite
Krueger's-
horror film of
Freddy
all time.
Krueger's glove is in there.
Yeah,
my brother.
It's
There's
like,
a shit ton of stuff from American Werewolf in London.
Oh, that's a great movie.
There's the xenomorph from Alien. Right?
still creeps me out.
Yeah.
This is my jam.
Right?
This is my jam.
So that's
But
and that's on
one
one side.
section
The other side was sci-fi.
and fantasy.
And well, no, sci-fi on the one side, and so it was that added later. So the sci-fi exhibit, one of the first things we saw there was the chair, the original captain's chair from Star Trek, the original
pilot.
series, the pilot,
Wow.
the one that
one that
Captain
Pike
Pike
sat in.
sat in,
Wow.
and so that was there. The model of the ship of the model of Serenity from
From the special
Joss
effects.
Whedon's
Joss Whedon's Firefly.
right? And I mean a fucking full scale Dalek from Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
I mean, just all this cool sci-fi gear. Then they started expanding it. and they had a fantasy exhibit, and the fantasy exhibit has the original D&D rules, like the original D&D rules. It's got from the book Aragon, right, written by Paolini when he was like 15. It's got some of his original pages there.
It has costumes from The Princess Bride.
Yes, it
Great
has
movie.
the six-finger glove.
I know
It
that
has
one.
costumes from The Wizard of Oz.
Dude,
Yo,
it
man.
has the sword from Highlander.
There can only be one.
That's right.
That's
right.
our child.
That's
our
that
child.
was on.
Yes.
Yes, that is how we approached raising or having children.
That is our birth control method.
There
There's
can be only one.
We're kind of in the same boat.
But
I like it.
It is such a cool place. It is such a cool place, and then they have rotating exhibits.
The Star Wars one was the shit. They had all of the costumes we saw. Princess Leia's gold bikini.
So, John, do you feel all of these are relevant or irrelevant?
They're relevant.
You know what? They are relevant.
I think pop culture is very relevant.
It is.
You know, and you know, I've always been a sci-fi fantasy nerd. Starting way back when I was a huge Poe fan, and it's funny. I read my first Poe stuff in 3rd grade.
Oh,
Wow.
early.
And
Telltale Heart.
I was
Telltale
one of those nerd kids, man. I was short, I was fat, I was, you know, horn rimmed glasses, and I loved to read because it was escape. It
Sure.
got me out of
Sure.
the shitty family that I was in.
Yeah.
And so I read so back in the day we used to have these things called the SRA readers, and
These are
they were
way
different
before your time.
but they were different colors for different grades, right? Well, by the time I hit 3rd grade, I had gone all the way through the readers.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
And so they were giving me junior high and high school readers to flip through. And so I started reading Poe at that time. And yes, I read The Telltale Heart. I read The Cask of Amontillado. You know, I mean, I read some of that really cool Poe stuff. And so that kind of tweaked the brain a little
He was reading
bit.
Tolkien in like 4th grade.
Seventh grade. 7th grade, I read, me and my buddies, we read The Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Fellowship of the Ring, first book. And I still own the paperback that I read, where in the preface I underlined the real weed. When they were talking about the Shire and growing tobacco.
Nice.
Yeah, tobacco.
Oh, yeah.
And so, so I've always been hooked as a nerd. And so to me, that culture holds relevance to me. It's something I've always continued with.
Yeah.
So
It seems like, I mean, especially like, you know, really diving into books and especially like fantasy and things where people are doing epic, big things. That's got to drive a little bit of this relevance, because I can tell you, I feel a lot of the same way after a great book or a great movie. It's like, the fuck am I doing with my life? This guy just saved the world and like, or the galaxy. And, you know, Derek and I are sitting here drinking beer doing a podcast. Like, what the hell? You know,
You know what? At
Pop
some point,
culture
this
is
will save the
relevant.
world. Yes.
you know, rock and roll saves the world.
But you know what, Derek?
geez.
We eventually, because here's the thing: we each contribute, and this is the thing that I've concluded is we each contribute in our own way. And you know, I mentioned earlier when we were talking offline, Derek and I, Banksy was the one who summarized it, and Banksy said, "We die twice." And we first die when
Was it
our
Banksy?
corporeal body, passes, and then we die again when our name is uttered for the last time. And so, you know, as long as your name, your thought, your actions are continued on, I feel I gain relevance. So, you know, and so I try to educate. I try to be educated and constantly, you know, try to reinvent myself, try and do different shit.
So John said, look, I'm not really afraid of anything other than maybe death and irrelevance, but I'm coming to terms with it, or I have come to terms with it. You know, So I was like, you know what, man? I believe you. I trust you. But there's got to be something. A little something. So I got the Lagunitas little something, which is one of my favorite breweries. It is sort of a bummer to me, by the way, that they're now owned by Heineken. Is that what we talked about? I keep saying Anheuser, but you're right. I think it's Heineken. Because I went to their brewery in Petaluma.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool brewery. Their story is really cool too, by the way. I heard their story about how they grew. One of their brewers, cheers, when they had originally brewed their first beers, they were like just trying to get distribution, and they couldn't get distribution. So they basically just made a bunch of kegs, and they drove it down the California coast, stopping at the coolest bars that they could find, and just said, hey, if you put my keg and my tap in your bar, I'll give it to you for free.
Right.
And then people liked their beer, right? Because the bars were like, sure, yeah, I'll take free beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
And then basically people were like, oh, yeah, this beer is great. So then, people started coming back and buying it.
Right. Because they don't have shitty laws like we do here in Nevada, where everything has to go through a fucking distributor.
Go through the mob.
That's right.
So I know how we can continue this.
Okay.
And
What's our bridge?
I'm going to invite you both to be in a live cooking demo with me.
Oh, we go from beer to food. I
Yeah.
like it.
We can
So-
still have beer on
there'll
the
be
food
beer.
show.
Yes,
There'll be
there'll
fucking
be
beer, trust me.
Okay, so I started the series of cooking demos, and you can find them at Good for Spinning on YouTube. There's actually 2 channels. I got to figure out how to shut the other one down, but at any rate.
But Good for Spooning is the main one.
Good for Spooning.
You could go through Facebook, find me there, and then click the link that's in my profile there to get all the cooking videos. But I started teaching my sister how to cook online during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And we do it live on Facebook Live.
I love it.
That's bold.
I love it.
That's bold.
Okay,
The live stuff is the best. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
no edits, one take,
Single take.
See, that's
one
cool.
camera.
Because you've got a shitty fucking cameraman running
He's
things.
sitting right here.
Who also does beer commercials,
He
I hear.
does beer
Oh, yeah.
commercial during the
yeah.
thing.
I have to do my walkthrough.
Can we help with the beer commercial?
Oh, absolutely!
Yeah.
I would
We're there.
appreciate. I will enlist you guys to
Beautiful.
So
We're here to
we-
help.
We try to keep the demo right around an hour. Sometimes, depending on what we're cooking, we go a little bit over.
Cool.
Because it is done live. So it's like I'm actually cooking the recipe with the people. I give them a shopping list ahead of time.
Yeah.
That if you want to cook along with me, here is what you need to have.
See, how cool is that, man?
And I do go and I give them an equipment list and a shopping list. And I go, here's what we're making. I talk it over with Nancy and say, hey, Nancy, what do you want to learn how to make? And we work it out together. I go, here's your
Fantastic.
equipment list, here's your shopping list. People have the opportunity to ask questions ahead of time. What if I can't find this? Can I use this instead? Kind of thing. And then I cook live and demonstrate the recipe from start to finish.
That's awesome.
So what I'm going to do, you guys are just going to show up and participate and I'll boss you around because I'm really good
I'm
at
not
bossing
good in
people
the
around.
kitchen, so
That's
I just
okay.
need you to tell me exactly what to do.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I do because a lot of the people that are watching have never really stretched their culinary skill set.
Yes, not beyond a microwave.
Right. So I actually did a demo where I taught knife skills. Like, here's the proper way to hold the fucking knife.
Oh, that's actually really good because a lot of people don't.
My girlfriend Christine came in and she gave us a knife sharpening demo. Here's how you sharpen your goddamn knife.
Yeah.
We've done some really basic stuff. We've done some really crazy stuff. We have done crepes. We've done croque madame. We did.
Croque madame is one of my favorites. I
It's
gotta
my
tell you.
all-time favorite brunch recipe, like
I don't
ever.
know if I've had that.
It's like a super fancy grilled cheese sandwich with
Okay.
bechamel and a fried egg on it.
Ooh.
It's like the best thing ever. So we've
Sounds
done
fantastic.
brunch. I don't do desserts, although because it's you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm really seriously thinking about beer infused recipes and beer centric recipes.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about doing a chocolate souffle
That sounds freaking tastic.
with a stout caramel.
Oh, let's do it.
That sounds incredible.
Or maybe John
Or
thinks I should put his blueberry porter
a
in
blueberry
it.
porter.
I'd
I
have
think
to,
a blueberry porter would be great.
I'd
have to
concur.
play with it.
I'm also not going to be picky here.
I happen to know a guy.
I know a guy. But
Who
yeah,
makes that, by
We-
the way?
Do you remember the name of the brewery?
I remember the
Nota
name of the
Brau.
brewer.
Nota Brau.
I have slept with the name of the brewer. But
You slept with the head brewer.
I have slept
We
with
got to
the
start
head
doing
brewer.
that, Stu.
Sleep
You
with
need
the
to
head
get more
brewer.
of
Each
them on, yeah.
But like I said, I don't normally do dessert,
Yeah,
so
I
I'm
like
not
you
for
guys.
sure that's what we're gonna do. Maybe we'll do a really
You're a
good
handsome
beer
man,
cheese
John.
soup.
Oh, see, dude.
I love a
I
great
love a
beer
good grilled
cheese soup.
beer cheese soup, yep.
Yeah, so
I
I don't
could
know.
get down on that for sure.
Ooh, or just beer cheese dip
And yes, and pretzels.
for pretzels.
We're not
dude.
making pretzels. Pretzels are a 3-day process.
Well, but you can start with hard pretzels. Tell people to buy their own fucking hard pretzels.
yeah, I will work on a menu.
I'm excited.
Don't
I'm
worry.
excited.
We'll leave it to you.
Yeah.
We'll leave it to you.
We'll be there.
These guys.
I will work on a
I hear good
beer-centric
things.
recipe,
Perfect.
and we will. Normally, I make a cocktail,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we have to.
but if we're gonna have beer,
But we could do a cocktail too.
I might have to work on a beer cocktail.
Why
Beer
not? Yeah.
cocktail.
Ooh, how about a beer cocktail? I like that.
Yeah, I love a good beer cocktail.
I have
man.
to get with Adam Raines about that because I am not really skilled at beer cocktails, but I know people who
Oh
are.
fuck! Bring Adam in.
Yeah, cock beer.
Call him.
There we go.
Yeah, here I'll just whip out my
Bring in
phone.
the
I
expert.
know
Call
another
Adam Raines.
guy. I know another
Because
guy.
I know another guy. I think I do think his number's in my phone. By the way,
I'm stoked for that, man. Yeah. Once we figure
gonna
that
be a
out,
blast.
we'll let all you guys know exactly when we're going to be doing this because the cool thing is it's live. Like, we don't
Yeah,
have
it's
to tell
live.
you,
No,
hey,
it's totally live.
we're going to record the podcast now, and in a week from now, you're going to hear it. No,
No,
like, this is
it's-
live.
It's going to
Yeah.
be done live. I set it up on Facebook as an event, so I will invite beer freaks or
Beautiful.
Perfect.
email you or
Beautiful,
something.
yeah.
And then you can invite all of your viewers or all of your listeners to view you. And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
if they don't know what you look like
anybody
in
out there
person.
has not seen these guys.
I know, that's
Holy
it.
They're in for a shock.
Well,
They're-
no,
they're-
because
they're
you're a
for
couple
shock.
of
Not a
really
good one.
decent looking guys.
Oh,
So I think people are going to be like super excited to see that. But I really think that,
But
your
then again-
listeners like to see the voices, the
Yeah.
faces that go with the
Oh,
voices.
totally.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and by the way, she's been drinking.
Yeah. Everybody looks better when you're drunk.
It's very true.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
that's how
that's
I
how
got
he
her.
got me.
That's how I got her to marry me.
I also met my wife at a bar, by the way, so I am with
Very
you.
You got that.
I met
yeah,
mine.
the
Cool.
old-fashioned way.
That's how
Halfway
it
on
works.
Tinder. So, dude, guys, thank
the
you so
good
much
news
for
is-
traveling to
Thank
Southern
you
California
so
for
much.
us.
Southern California East is what we like
Yeah.
to call
Yeah,
it
yeah,
over
We're,
here.
we're
Thank
really
you
happy
so
about
much.
You're in
for having
northern
us.
SoCal. You're in northern SoCal.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for inviting us.
Yeah,
and
you
having
guys
us.
are
Yeah, guys,
blast.
this is amazing.
And
We had such a great time meeting you guys.
Like,
and
really
so
meeting you
This is a
guys.
really cool follow up.
This is fun.
And thank you for the amazing beer, dude.
Thank you for
we're
the
stoked,
beer.
There's more.
Yeah, see that.
Oh boy.
Oh,
We're
and maybe
so
by the
excited.
time we do the demo of the beer he's brewing right now, I'll be ready
yeah,
to drink.
the hazy will be on tap.
I'm
Good.
excited for the hazy.
You and I.
Yeah.
So,
Kicks off a great day.
yeah, but I think you are going to definitely
Again.
need a designated driver.
Can't
that's
drink
fine.
all day
'Cause
unless you start in the
We're
morning.
near. I'm so glad we got
Get,
to meet you guys. It was
Yeah,
great.
same here.
We can get blasted.
Yeah,
Let's not mince words here.
I love it.
Yeah, there's
I'm
plenty of couches.
down. We're
Hey,
down to
let's
what?
not mince-
125 bottles on the bar, somewhere thereabouts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it?
You
Oh,
know what?
yeah.
Never mind.
Jesus,
I think
what's
we're
wrong
gonna.
with you?
I think we're gonna back up.
But hey, I like that. Let's not mince words. We're gonna soon mince some garlic, maybe.
Depending on
Derek,
what
what
we
a close.
make.
Wow,
What a close.
look at
All
that.
right, boys and girls, we're calling it.
That's
Thank
the killer.
you. Derek just finished strong. Thanks for tuning in, folks.